Since we are slightly behind schedule, I will try to be as brief as possible. So as Mr. Kumar mentioned, I will be giving you a brief overview of the activities of the Center of Excellence for Digital Preservation, our focus and the kind of things that we are developing. Also, these are certain steps to take this activity towards the future have also been conceived, and some activities have been already initiated. Just to take a retrospective view, I must mention that the Department of Electronics and Information Technology gave us the opportunity to prepare the National Study Report on Digital Preservation Requirements of India. Mr. V.B. Taneja is present here. He was heading the department at that time, and that was actually a moment of challenge and self-doubt whether I will be able to do something like this. He asked me whether you will be able to prepare such a report, and I said yes, not knowing whether I will be able to actually do it. But we put together a group of almost 30 national level experts from diverse organizations. It includes the e-governance, the All India Radio, Doordarshan, Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, National Archives of India, National Remote Sensing Center, defense organizations, health consultants, a very diverse life insurance corporation which has the insurance policies in the digital form now, which need to be preserved. So we have a really diverse group, and we came up with the recommendations for the national program on digital preservation. As a result of that, the next task that was given to me was to submit a proposal on the Center of Excellence for Digital Preservation so that the actual activities could be started. So subsequently, this project was sanctioned by our ministry with the objectives like to conduct research and development in digital preservation, to specifically focusing on developing tools and technologies, solutions, infrastructure, standards, and so on. We have also got the mandate to develop pilot digital repositories in collaboration with number of archives and organizations with different kinds of data and holdings with them. We also have the mandate to provide inputs towards a formulation of the National Digital Preservation Policy, and we have been providing inputs towards that, and the the advocacy, this spreading awareness of digital preservation, etc. So in this project, we have taken up 5 pilot projects. The first one is, as Mr. Satyanarayana mentioned in the morning, the Andhra Pradesh government has launched a project called computer-aided registration of documents. So all the property documents, the purchases and so on, are registered electronically, and they already have something like, maybe 20 million digital documents with digital signatures affixed on them, which require to be preserved, and the number is growing every day. So how would a pilot digital repository of such data would look like? What kind of tools, technologies, and infrastructure that we will need to build? The second one is the e-governance records, in which we worked very closely. We studied the several mission mode projects of e-governance across India. Namely, we have e-district mission mode project, wherein the e-districts are supposed to provide various citizen services electronically, various certificates. You have domicile certificate. It includes even the passport and the other, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and so several such projects we studied. We studied their databases, the kind of electronic records which are being produced by them, and tried to identify how this can be channelized so that these electronic records are finally transferable to a digital repository where they could be preserved. We are also working very closely with National Archives of India, which presently has the archives and records in paper, microfilm, and other analog forms, maybe even audio visual materials with them. But very soon they will also be receiving electronic records and electronic transfers from the ministries and government departments which are supposed to transfer their digital records to the National Archives of India. So we are working very closely with them to build the competencies and the infrastructure for them. We are also working with Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, which is a custodian of the ancient manuscripts, the rare books, and the audiovisual archive which they have recently started to build, and they are digitizing all these materials, and they presently have something like 20,000 CDs and DVDs comprising of the digital surrogates of all these things, which requires to be preserved, because it is impossible to refresh and check the CDs and DVDs which have been maintained. So it has to be made online and kept accessible. We also have the fifth initiative, which is for preservation of the e-court proceedings, which is implemented by C-DAC Noida Center, wherein the electronic proceedings of the court, the legal documents are being preserved there. As part of this effort, we have also, during last 2 years' time, we have come up with digital preservation standard and certain best practices, which have been notified by our ministry for all the e-governance applications across India. So we hope that in the coming few years, the specifications of the e-governance systems being developed, or even the legacy systems, will require certain changes, so that the electronic records preserved, captured by these systems, produced and captured by these systems, are become transferable to the trusted repositories, and in due course we also have the infrastructure of the repositories in place. So our activities have brought about a lot of changes even at the policy level. The government has the record retention schedules normally, which they announce, for various government departments. So they have recently introduced the electronic records, and the retention schedules have been brought down to match with the longevity of the records. So within 10 years' time now, the organizations will be requiring to transfer their electronic records to National Archives of India. So we can say that maybe the data or the electronic records produced from 2003 onwards are actually now transferable to National Archives, and but we have to spread awareness, because the many government organizations still don't consider the digital data as some kind of record. Our conventional mindset is to assume paper as the record, so that has to be changed. We are working on number of tools and technologies. Presently, the Center of Excellence has a team of 40 software engineers and system administrators. So we have a very large team which is championing this cause of digital preservation, and we are developing the archival systems like the e-records Digitalaya. So we have named it as Digitalaya. It is an Indian English name for the trusted digital repository, because it is Digitalaya can be pronounced in one breath, and it means, as you must be aware of Himalaya. Himalaya means the abode of Lord Shiva, the home. So this is Digitalaya is the home, the abode for the bits where they can reside. Then we have Datantar, which is the pre-SIP process, which yesterday Dr. Vivek was mentioning. So the Datantar is basically data needs to go through certain transformation before it becomes acceptable to an archival system. So the OAIS framework which we have developed has to be made domain specific. When it comes to the National Archives of India, or when it comes to e-governance, the data acquisition, the way it is acquired, the way it is ingested and archived, the policies governing that are going to be very different. Even dissemination, the policies governing the the kind of data is very different. So the Digitalaya is adopted in different domains. So Abhilekh Digitalaya is for the National Archives of India. The e-records Digitalaya is for the e-governance kind of records, which involves a lot of automatic processes wherein it connects to the database and captures the electronic records in large batch processes it can run, and so on. We also have this datantar for reformatted digital records. So places where we have the digital surrogates. So the images or the audio and video is digitized and kept as it is. Many times the metadata associated with that is not available. Sometimes the formats are not right. Sometimes, so we need to do digital watermarking. We need to process it. We need to tag it, and so on. So the datantar, another version of it, focuses on the reformatted digital. This Sanskriti Digitalaya focuses on the cultural digital data. We have also developed another software called Digital Preservation Planner. So all the record retention policies which are available on the net within India belonging to various government departments, we have made it inclusive database of that. So we have thousands of record types and various retention schedules and the way it needs to be retained, when it can be disposed of, various regulations and rules. So it has been made searchable and made online. We can also give the technical specifications for the format in which it will be digitized or maybe it is produced. So based on that, one can arrive at the estimates of the kind of storage requirements that you will have. One can anticipate and do certain estimation activities. So that is the Digital Preservation Planner. So all these software tools and systems are currently, the development is going on. Working prototypes are also available. Some of them we will be presenting, we will be getting a glimpse of these during today. We have also prepared the initial draft of the National Digital Preservation Policy. So as far as the technical aspects of digital preservation are concerned, they have been covered in this. As far as the policy is concerned, the policymakers have to apply their experience, and based on that it can be given a better form. Mr. Satyanarayana had also advised us to work on the draft rules under the Information Technology Act, so that digital preservation can be also enforced legally. So such things have also, we have provided the basic inputs for that. The code of practice for legal admissibility of scanned documents or digitally migrated documents, because when you migrate one record from one format to another, how the authenticity and its legal acceptance be ensured. So that has to be defined in the policy and certain rules. Otherwise, the legal admissibility can be questionable. You may have the data, but it may not be acceptable. So such things are also brought up for discussion. So I will quickly sum up. This is our representation of the trusted digital repository, because we need to have all the layers of preservation and the repository in place for it to be called a repository. First is you need to identify the data that needs to be preserved. So in our case, the pilot projects that we have tried to identify what needs to be preserved. We need an open archival information system, which is domain specific. It caters to the requirements of the specific organization. You need variety of digital preservation tools to process the data, make it acceptable to an OAIS, and even OAIS has to further process it to archive it, and so on. We need the standards, best practices and guidelines. So somewhere we have made progress by introducing the initial digital preservation standard and the guidelines. We hope that we have hooked in the gear the standard, because the ministry has made them mandatory for all e-governance projects. So we hope that in the years to come we will have some results. The digital repository infrastructure. So here what we mean by infrastructure is the storage, the hardware, etc. So the hardware infrastructure, we are also spending a lot of effort in creating such infrastructures for preservation, strategies for risk management, mitigation, trained and certified human resource, because presently we have at the most people with system administration experience, with the technical competencies to manage the repository infrastructure, but they also need to be made aware of the the file formats, the preservation, various aspects related to preservation, migration, and so on. Archival administration and long-term sustenance. So our pilot project is a time-bound project. So we need to do something so that it goes beyond the duration for which the project has been created, because the pilot projects have to turn into full-scale projects, and they should be sustained for the years to come. Self-audit, third-party audit, and certification, these competencies we desire to develop. David is helping us a lot in educating us about the audit and certification, and organization's digital preservation policy. So unless a policy is in place, none of these layers actually can come into existence. So with this, so at present our project is in the 4th stage, wherein we are, some of the functional prototypes are deployed, and testing, trials, and sample data ingesting, all that is going on. We have still a long way to go. Thank you very much.